Okay, this is part one of a three-part little mini-series, and I'll do my best to keep it as short as possible, but it's been brought to my attention 3 questions that I wrote down. 1, why do you fast, Kelly? 2, how does it affect you spiritually? And 3, what has it done for me? So, in order for me, I'm going to try to tackle the first one, why I fast. Gosh, my answer today might be a lot different than what it was 26 plus years ago when I started. So what I did is I pulled out some of my old journals. This is the first one. And so where I documented, charted, graphed all my fasts, all my cleanses. And so the first thing that came to me was why I fast. It didn't start out that way, but the way it did start out is I was having physical problems. And I knew I needed to make some changes. I was 3 dress sizes bigger. I was about to approach the 40s decade. And it's like, oh man, I'm not getting younger. And if I keep going, it's just a little bit weight each year. What am I going to be at 45? What about 50? You start thinking those kind of things, perhaps, or at least I did. And so a friend of mine said, hey, Kelly, in Malaysia, she says, why don't you take this health and nutrition course and get your naturopath? And I'm like, okay, well, yeah. So I did it. And I'm just like gung-ho, jumped into it. And as I was studying and going through the course, so many things began stirring up in me. Like health is a gift, to take responsibility for my health. And I knew I was in an urgent situation to where it's like I wanted to know what was causing my colon problems and intestinal and stomach and headaches all the time, and then gaining weight as each decade's different. You'll find out as you guys get older, or those of you girls, you guys that are already, I'm 64, so those that are in your 70s, tell me, 80s, if you're on here watching, what happens in those decades. And so I wish I would have known now what I knew then. That's like, okay, the egg has been scrambled, the milk has been spilled. So let's get on with today. Health and nutrition. So I began asking myself these questions. I began taking the course. And one of my big exams I had to do, I decided to do it on fasting. I was just so intrigued with that. And so I did a 30-day fast. We happened to be in the Philippines. Long story short, it was 30 days. I did fruit only, and I lost so much weight. And then I began having more questions. And I pulled out some of these notes that I had out of my journal. And it said here, let's see, where did I read it? Oh, this is January 28th, 1999, but it says, the more I'm studying about my body physically, okay, these are my journaling, and how my body functions, the more I realize stuff is going on spiritually. God began showing me things. What would happen like 2 or 3 days in the physical, it would then he would reveal to me a couple days later in the spiritual. I could see the parallel. And it's like, oh, and then I just began becoming hungry to fast, craving to fast. Let me do another one. What happens when I do, okay, I did the 30-day fruit only. Well, what happens if I do a 7-day juice only? What happens if I do a 40-day liquid fast only, or a 3-day absolute, no food or no water? What happens in that? I just began drinking all that in and just researching and studying and taking notes. And at that time, there was nothing, or at least where I was, there was nothing that I could find. If I researched about fasting, then we didn't even have computer internet stuff, if I remember correctly. But if I would go to the bookstore and find something on fasting, it would be all spiritual. And I'm like, oh, I want to find out what's going on. How come I'm having swollen glands under my armpits? Or how come I'm sweating in my left armpit? Or, how come I'm breaking out in this rash? There was all kinds of questions and things I started observing. And so that was my kickoff. That was my, for fasting and cleansing. And I just haven't stopped. I just thrive. I love, I would be so disciplined back then. I've lightened and loosened up a bit, but I wouldn't even let anything touch my lips. And but now, okay, I loosened up a little bit. But I journaled and charted, and that's how my journaling began: of physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. I'd write down every fast, every cleanse, What took place physically? How was my body responding? Was I having fever, rash, sweats, discharge, anything, ears clogging, mentally, where was my thought process? What was going on? I can remember I would talk to my mom, she'd be like, Kelly, it's like, a dog that goes in circles and circles and can't find a place of rest. My mind would just swarm with things. And so mentally, I've jotted down. Emotionally, oh my emotions in the fast. Yeah, I've got stories I'll tell you later about that, but emotions would just rise up. And spiritually, what was God doing? And he was faithful to show me, so faithful. But I'll end with this story, why I fast. I was teaching at a women's group at a church in Kansas City area. I won't say which one. But the lady said to me, I don't know, you even mentioned the word fasting or cleansing, people just like get angry, emotions flare, and because food is very spiritual. And so she says, Kelly, I can give up my smoking. I can give up my drinking. I can even give up my cussing. But don't you take away my food. And that kicked off another, what was it in her? What was stirring? What buttons were pushed that food had such a big deal, such a stronghold on her? So there you have it, why I fast. Now, up until today, as I get older, my ideas shift. I do it for my health. Back then it was health reasons, and then it kicked in over into, as I journaled and charted all the different areas. And now it's like, it's not that I have to, and it's not like fasting spiritually changes God's mind, but it definitely changes my heart. And it's like, I can go places in my heart that I never even dreamed existed, as I journey through his that I never even knew were there either. And so as he takes me through mine, stay tuned, because the next video I'll tell you what happened as he took me to a place in my heart that I had no idea was even there. And that's how it affected me spiritually. So sum it up, it began on physical and then just sort of snowballed and to where I am today.